Well, guys, us here in the United States of America, we like to think of this country as being, a free country, the land of the free and the home of the brave. But is that still factual? Is that still truthful? In my opinion, no. I mean, what can you do in the United States without getting a permit? And a permit means permission from the government. Anything you do besides go out and walk, you have to get a permit for, pretty much. Everything is regulated, controlled by the government, the county government, the local government, the state governments, the federal government. There's so many laws, so many regulations that you can't do anything really in the United States without getting permission or without breaking a law of some kind. Now, if you compare the United States to, say, North Korea, we're more free than North Korea, obviously. But if you compare the United States to other Western countries, we're not any freer than anyone else is. The only advantage we have here over, say, Britain, Canada, is that we have the Second Amendment, the right to keep and bear arms. Other than that, there's not much difference at all, because permits, regulations, like I said, and in a lot of places, if you own your property, and you want to build a fence, you want to put up an outbuilding, you want to do anything to your property on your own land, supposedly your land, you have to go get a permit. You have to pay money. You have to get inspections to put up a fence, to put up a building, anything. It's different in different locations, but a lot of places are like that. You have to get permission from the government to do anything. And I remember, going to school, and some kid would be doing something, screaming or something, or doing something, and another kid would say, "Shut up." And that kid would say, "I don't have to, it's a free country." And we always thought it was a free country. And at one time, it definitely was, in my opinion, a free country, at least the freest country on earth. However, over time, those freedoms have been eroded constantly. It's constantly putting in more laws, more regulations, more restrictions. And it's happened slowly over the last few decades. So now we're at this point where the Constitution doesn't hold any power anymore, really. They just look over the Constitution, do what they want to do anyway. We think we're living under a constitutional republic, but if you look at everything that's been going on, not really. They've completely destroyed most of the Constitution. Like I said, we had the right to keep and bear arms. However, if you get out of line, say for example, and we have free speech here, as long as you say what the powers that be want you to say. If you don't say what they want you to say, you don't have free speech anymore. You have the right to privacy, as long as the government doesn't want to know what you're doing. And if they do, then they will find out everything about you without going through all the proper procedures and things like that. I mean, if you look at the freedoms we've lost, it is absolutely amazing. Edward Snowden, he brought a lot of that out. Brought a lot of that out to the forefront of what the NSA was doing about our freedom, about breaking the law, breaking the Constitution. And you see what happened to him. They're still doing it. They're doing it now more than they were. However, Edward Snowden had to flee to Russia because he made public that the federal government was breaking the law, going against the Constitution. And instead of them changing and not breaking the law, they buckle down and go after him. And now it's much worse now than what it was, when he brought those revelations forward. Most people would have thought that there's no way our government was doing all the things he said they were doing. But here we are, and it's gotten worse. And that's what the AI is all about. They want more control. They already control everything pretty much. We have no freedom in this country at all, unless you compare it to, say, North Korea. You have to have permission to do anything, like I said. I mean, it's ridiculous. And they want more. And they control now. You got to pay to go fishing. You got to pay to get a hunting license. You got to pay to drive your vehicle. You got to pay to license your vehicle. You got to pay taxes on your property. You got to get permission to build on your property. You got to get permission for everything, and rules and regulations and laws. That's not a free country. And we saw back here about 5 years ago when the whole COVID pandemic came up. We saw how free we actually were. They put tape in the stores to stand so far apart because of federal mandates. stand 6 feet apart, take your shot, put your mask on. So many people allowed inside of a building, a public building, taking numbers, taking names. Everything was totally controlled, locked down, stay in your house, don't travel, don't go. If your government can do that, you had no freedom. You had that illusion of freedom, as long as they want you to have that illusion. But if they want to clamp down, you see, that freedom is gone. What they did during the COVID pandemic, trying to force people to get injections, forcing people to stay home, stay-at-home orders, forcing people to have masks, forcing people to, or at least trying to. Some of us didn't obey, like I didn't obey at all, none of the mandates and rules and regulations at all. I said, screw you, I'm not doing that at all, not going to happen. But they closed people's businesses down. They can come in and tell you to close your business down because there's a virus. Close your business down. The business that you built up, the one that you own, maybe your family ran that business for years. They come in and tell you to close it down through mandates, through emergency powers, emergency orders. And you have to close your business down, lose money, lose your business, lose your property because they said so. That's how free this country is. Like I said, compared to, say, North Korea, we're pretty free, I guess. But everything else, not really. If you compare us to, like I said, Western countries, we're not no more free than they are. And if you look at the freedom rankings, I saw in the freedom rankings where they rank freedom of different countries. And it was like 8 years ago, United States was down like 17, and I'm sure we're lower than that now. And it's still not enough. It's still not enough. They are putting in all this AI infrastructure. That's why all the data centers that they're putting in, $500 billion in data centers, working with Larry Ellison. And like Larry Ellison said, he's a big multi-billionaire, look him up. And he's all into the AI, and the $5 billion in data centers is all tied in with, Larry Ellison and some other technocrats, oligarchs. And he said in an interview that when they had AI watching through all the cameras, had cameras everywhere with AI watching everyone, that everyone would be on their best behavior. Meaning, you got somebody watching you all the time on your best behavior. AI, and they're already doing a lot of that with AI. They're just coming out now and telling us some of it. They don't have enough data processing to run everything right now. And that's why they're putting in all the data centers. That's why they're building these data centers, because it's Agenda 2030, the Great Reset, full control infrastructure using AI. And right now, they monitor text messages, Facebook messages. They monitor all that and watch all that. Your microphone is always on, your cell phone always listening. They're always watching everything, and it's not enough. They want more. And that's what the digital currency is all about. So they have to have the AI data centers all built, $500 billion to start, of the AI data centers before they can roll out digital currency in full force. But they need the processing power through the new data centers to be able to do that. And when they get the digital currency and they eliminate cash, well, that's coming before 2030. Digital currency and elimination of cash, or at least make it so difficult to use cash that it'd be impossible to even use. You may have cash, but to go in and be able to use it, you won't be able to spend it, you won't be able to buy anything with it, because everything will be done through the digital scans and things, all of the stores and things. You might be able to buy from mom and pop stores like that if they still have cash at all. We'll have to wait and see how that turns out. They want to eventually completely eliminate cash. Now, so they can control everyone even more tightly through the social credit score system, digital currencies. That's what it's all about. And we're seeing it put in place right now. And people are cheering. People think it's great. They don't know that they're cheering their own enslavement. That they're cheering for, their own enslavement. It's really sad, it really is. That's exactly what's happening though. So, knowing all that, if you open your eyes just a little bit, you can see what they're doing, what's happening right now. So is it possible to be free at all in this country? Not really, not totally free. You can be more free, but to be totally free is not going to happen. too much technology, too much control, too many laws, too much government. So being totally free, you know, free to do what you want to do, whenever you want to do it on your own property and things, not really, unfortunately, in my opinion. You can be more free if you, say, move to the mountains, build a little cabin in the mountains or a little hut, a little dugout, and live in that. If you have no automobile and you walk everywhere, if you ride a bicycle, you know, like 𝐒𝐄𝐑𝐈𝐁𝐄, the Unabomber, if you live like that, you can have some freedom. He lived in Montana in a little 12-by-12 cabin. He rode a bicycle, had no electricity, had no cell phone, nothing at all. He was pretty free as far as that goes. He blew it, literally blew it, by doing what he did, and ended up had to go to prison for what he did. But he was actually, if you look into that case, he was actually trying to stop what we're seeing now. He was trying to stop this technology because he knew what it was going to do. It was going to enslave humanity. So he was trying to target certain people to stop that. And he made mistakes all the way around. And he should have knew that wouldn't work because, you know, if something happens to one person, they'll just put someone else in his place and keep the project going. That's just the way that it works. But anyway, that's what his whole plan was, to stop technology from taking the world over. But he lived pretty free in Montana, and he should have stayed in his cabin. He should have just not done what he did at all, because it didn't do any good. He went to prison. It had to be miserable going to prison like that for him. Not taking up for him, he murdered people, not taking up for him at all. But living like he did in the mountains in Montana, and he going to federal prison with all that noise and all those people and all those rules and regulations, I mean, it had to be miserable. Had to be really miserable. But if you can do that, go live in the mountains in a little cabin, live in a little dugout maybe, then ride a bike, no cell phone, no communications, then you might be a little bit free. It's possible to get more free that way. But other than that, you know, they're going to be watching everything you do. If you have an automobile, property, pay taxes, cell phones, if you use currency, the digital currency, they're going to be in full control. It's a sad situation to be in, guys, it really is. And I've been thinking about this. You know, I love the thought of freedom. Being able to do it. It's like what you want to do when you want to do it, without getting permission. If I want to build an outhouse, let's build an outhouse here on the property. If I want to do whatever I want to do, as long as it's not hurting anyone else directly, then I should be able to do that without getting government permission. But it's not the way it is. They want to know everything you do, everything you buy, where you bought it at, everything. They even get married. You have to get a marriage license. I mean, there's licenses for everything. Homeschooling, rules, regulations. Public school, rules, regulations. You gotta have your vaccinations to get in public schools. Colleges, rules, regulations. I mean, I wonder how many different laws, rules, regulations that there are in the United States. Has to be in the hundreds of thousands. It's crazy, it really is, that we've let this happen to this country. This once freest country on earth, and what it's turned into now. But don't worry, guys, we will vote and get rid of all the evil ones. Bring our freedom back here in the United States. Anyway, let me know in the comments below if you think this is a free country. Let me know in the comments below. If you think it's not, let me know in the comments below. And if you think that we can still be free, actually free here in the United States, let me know how in the comments below. Like I said, the only thing I can figure out personally is to move to the mountains in a little cabin, in a little dugout, squat on someone else's land, maybe. We don't have no taxes that way. Stay hidden, live in a tent, ride a bicycle. That's about it. But the only way to be totally free, or at least mostly free, here in this country. Anyway, like the video. Thanks for watching. I'll see you guys next video, hopefully.